All right.
How are you, Coach?
Good. How are you? Ready to get to work? All right. I'll take any questions you guys have.
Looking back, what did you learn about the offense and what did you pick up from looking at that game?
After evaluating over the weekend, I think there's one thing that's really disappointing. I know there's a lot of disappointment from last week's performance, but we need to be more consistent as a team, and that's my job as a head coach. You know, is to find a way to be consistent. Even if you look at the season, we've played some really good games and played some really bad ones. You know, and even within the game, we've shown some really good things, shown some good drives, and then it's just not consistent enough. And so, what I need to do as a head coach is find a way to get our team to be consistent, because we have really good players and they do everything we ask them to. They work hard, and so really, I need to do a better job at making sure our team, our program, and that our results are more consistent on the field, and that'll give us a better chance for success. Now, that being said, I understand frustrations that are out there from fans and expectations, and they're valid, you know. So my focus entirely is on trying to find a way to keep our team consistent and get the results that we need, and the results that I think our players deserve. So that's going to be the focus, and trying to find a way to have better results, and just to find ways to give our guys what they deserve and how hard they work to have it pay off.
Conventional wisdom says that if you're playing a lot of young guys, freshmen particularly, they don't have the experience to draw on, and some of that inconsistency might be because of that. Do you agree, disagree with that?
Well, I mean, I have to look at everything, right? So when I go back to the game, I look at my the decisions I made as a head coach in this game specifically, and there are probably some things I could have done differently, but I have to evaluate what I can do, and I look at our players, and I mean, we have a lot of great players. I don't look at the experience or anything like that. We just need to have a system or find a way, and then I'm the leader of the team, so you need to find a way to devise a scheme on offense, defense, or special teams that where our guys we can highlight their strengths, if that makes any sense, right? And we have some guys that can do things differently on the field, whether it's any of those three phases, and we have enough offense and defense and special teams minds that can make it work, and we need to devise schemes that will help and strategies that will help our players utilize all their skill sets and their strengths, and that's the goal this week. And I think when we do that, we can find more consistency, and that's that and among other things that we're going to keep working on. So we're going to work hard to get this thing right, and make sure that I feel like we're doing some really good things, and we're just not doing it consistently enough. And I'd like to do it all the time, and that's the goal. And yeah, so that the focus will be on that. I'm not really concerned about how young they are. I'm more concerned about how can I get them to perform at their best consistently.
Why do you think the offensive line seems to have taken a step back, maybe even regressed?
Well, I think looking at it, it's kind of the same thing. I think there's some guys that are you mentioned that don't have a lot of experience, and so, like I said before, trying to find ways to keep it so they can be physical and they can be dominant, like I know they can, and the scheme's got to match it so that they can be comfortable and fire off the ball and not to think too much.
You spoke about being more aggressive in the post game. You see him let it rip, I think is what the term you use. Is the aggressive part of it, you want to see more shots downfield on offense, or is there something else there?
I think just the aggressive mindset, maybe just like the way in our approach, and show more confidence in our guys, you know, and I mean, there's probably a lot going into that. I was emotional after the game, you know, and still am now, but I think that there's just probably so many things involved in that statement, and I just like to see more points on the board and more disruption on defense, and I'll probably say that no matter what the score is after the Boise game, and we could have success, and I'll probably say the same thing next Monday. So that's, yeah.
How do you assess the performance of the wide receiver this year overall?
Inconsistent, just like everything else that I've said. I mean, our team hasn't been consistent. You know, that's the kind of the biggest issue right now, and so it's not at the fault of the players. It's on me. So I need to find a way to get so that they can play really well and feel comfortable in their and utilize their skill set. So we have some guys that can run and can catch and can block and can throw and can tackle and they're physical. So build around that and devise a plan where all our guys can have success, regardless if they're a freshman or a senior.
What do you know about Boise State this year?
Oh yeah, I know Harson real well and the coaches on that staff. I've been around them quite a bit. And Chad Kahaha is the D-line coach, who's got a good friend of mine, and he and his wife Lena are good friends with me and Timberly. So really familiar with them. They have great staff and they're well coached. I say that every week. It's just we have some really good opponents that we're going against, and it's a difficult place to play. And we've never won there as a program, so looking forward to having some new things and some goals. It's a good challenge for us, and looking forward to trying to break that streak.
Why are you guys struggling to put 2 wins together? After you win, I think you're 1-6 the last 10 games. Why is that?
The inconsistency. It's my fault. That's why. As a head coach, I need to find a way to get them more consistent. And that's I don't know any other way to answer that, but then I need to find a way to make sure that our team's consistent. And I think the best way to do it is devise a plan where they can all have success and we can use their skill set and their strengths. And that's the goal. But I think that's kind of the theme right now. I should just bring out that banner out there and you guys just read it, and that's going to be the answer to every question that you ask me. So
Zach had his second start, 60% completion percentage, goes over 200 yards. Do you think he made another step in his progression despite the loss?
yeah, he played really hard. I mean, he made some big plays, but I think that he's better when he can set his feet and throw and not have to run all over the place. And I appreciate him making great highlights and jumping over people and getting first downs. But we're not gonna do well making him putting him in that type of situation. So if we want him to use his strengths and to find success, then we need to let him set his feet and throw the ball, because that's what he can do. I mentioned that he's a gunslinger. Let him sling the ball, and it's hard to do that when you're running for your life most of the time. So we need to find a way to get him settled in and let him use his strengths and get our team to have some consistent drives and points on the board, and then we'll feel better about ourselves. But he's done the way he prepares, and all of our players, the way they work, they work hard, they prepare, and they give it everything they have in the games, and I've been really pleased with that, and me and my staff need to do a better job.
You've talked previously about how you want the guys having fun. That was a big emphasis earlier on in the year. This is a time right now after 3 losses in 4 games where that can be really difficult. How do you get the guys playing loose, playing confident, enjoying the game even after these struggles?
Well, the past doesn't dictate anything that goes on from this week, so really can't dwell on the past. We learn from it and we grow, but I think more than anything, the guys have a good attitude of just gratitude and where they're at. They love the position of being at BYU and what they represent and their families that they represent on and off the field, and these guys love playing the game. So, I mean, we have a good time and we bring joy to the field, but at the same time they care about what they do and they want to have more success. And I think it's important that they enjoy it, because their families feel like all the hard work and sacrifice that they've made will pay off, But right now, we're not going to get anywhere by dwelling on some of the bad things. We've got to keep building, and I feel that we've done some good things. Let's just do it more often, right? And I'd love to do it all the time. And if we can do that, I think we'll win more games. But the guys have been consistent in their hard work, their effort, and how much they love the game and how much they appreciate being here and how much they love representing BYU.
A little atypical for Boise State this year on defense, giving up a lot more yards and points than they're used to. Did that just go straight to the injuries they've suffered, or do you see something else?
I don't know well enough about that. I mean, I think they've gone against some tough teams too, and you know a little bit more about the opponents that you play now, being so late in the season than you did before. I think that look at some of the points that we played before and what they're doing currently now. And I think everyone has to deal with injuries and to deal with change and experience and all that. It's not just unique to us. There's a lot of teams that are going through some obstacles and adversity, and I think they probably hit a few of them, but they're having success and they're doing some good things, and they have a really experienced quarterback run the show, and he can throw the ball. So defensively, we have to be ready for them, and I think they have a great scheme on defense. So offensively, we have to be ready for that too. But I know if we focus on ourselves and find a way to show more consistency, then we'll be good.
A lot has been made, both by fans and media, I guess, by the fact that the stadium wasn't full last week, even for an afternoon game, and the fact that maybe people aren't showing up. But what do you want to say to those who do show up, who come and do support the program, no matter what?
I love the fans. I appreciate everything we have great support, and we just need to do better on the field. And I'd like to see all our fans be happy. I'm disappointed that we haven't had the success at home that we need to, and I'm looking forward to changing that. So I'm not really concerned about the numbers. I know that we have some great support out there, and I've mentioned before we see it away on away games and at home games, and my job is to make all the fans happy, and so I aim to do that. Yeah, good luck. I love a challenge. But that's my job, and I accept it. And I understand frustration comes part of it because they care. Our fans really care, and I love the passion they have for the game and the passion they have for this team, and I look forward to making sure that they have good moments.
Entering the final month, the last 4 games, with that new redshirt rule, does it change your philosophy on these freshmen now than it was earlier in the year?
Yeah, it does, because we're pretty much going to play as many as we can, and there's some guys that are banged up that they kind of forced onto the field, specifically on special teams and at some other places. But I think it's important that we just move forward. There's some guys that have played probably at the point where they're hitting that 4-game mark, and if we're at that point now, they're probably just going to be playing for the rest of the season. There's others that have played only 1 or 2 games, and we just have to figure out what would be the best thing for us and our future and our numbers and our depth for next year too. So there's also guys that are still banged up. That's our scout team works really hard too, and they get bruised up and banged up here and there too. So the depth works for the whole team, scout team, and our offense and defense and travel squad as well.
What has made Boise State a rivalry without that in-state tie or traditional conference tie?
Well, I think there's been some really close games, and I think the scores made it really close. But also it's even though we're not in the same state, they're really close. We have a lot of fans in Idaho, and then they've had a lot of success. And so I think that I think maybe the consistent having them being on the schedule more consistently has made it that way. And so there's 3 teams that we feel like they're on the schedule more than the others, and year to year for the most part, and that's Utah, Boise, and Utah State. So.
Any other questions?
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Here's Micah.
Talk about where the offense is at after a game where they just weren't able to put their hands on, weren't able to get points.
Yeah, it's tough. During the game, after the game, it was tough. Just trying to figure out what happened. I've watched the game a few times, just trying to see where we fell short of, and it's just a tough situation, and we'll meet with the coaches today, and we'll figure it out and figure out the best plan to move forward and bounce back.
Kalani's theme was very clear as to form more
consistency, and he puts the onus on himself. What have you seen maybe from the coaching staff this week to maybe address that? Is it too early, or what do you guys have to do to help establish more consistency?
Yeah, Coach Sitake takes a lot of blame on himself, but at the end of the day, we're the ones out there playing, and we're the ones that have to make the plays happen. As a captain and the other captains, we take it upon ourselves. It's our team. We have to lead our guys and make sure that the confidence is still high in everybody so that everybody can go out there and play loose and play free and make plays. We'll have meetings later on in a little bit with our coaches and figure out what's next.
You guys have had trouble following up a win with a win. Are practices after a win the same as practices after a loss?
Yeah, practices are always the same. There's the same amount of focus, the same intensity after a loss or after a win. The way we practice, we say we want to practice just as if we're playing the game, and I'd say that practices are the same.
Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, everybody's going to make mistakes. It's just part of the game. How different is it being a senior versus a freshman as far as those mistakes or learning from them or being able to adjust to them when you've been there, more years than you had when you first started?
I feel like as you get older, junior and senior, you've been in all different types of situations throughout the course of a game. If you've either missed a block, had a penalty, dropped a ball, or whatever, you can kind of figure out how to bounce back from that. As a freshman, maybe it's a little difficult to do that. But our coaches, they do a great job of just trying to teach consistency and just have everybody just own up to their mistakes, and things will happen, but there's always time to bounce back.
Conventional wisdom would say that having a lot of freshmen playing like you guys are having, that might be the result of some of that lack of consistency, just because they haven't seen it as much. What do you see from those young guys as they're growing? Because they're kind of going through those growing pains. We see it. I'm sure you guys see it. We kind of see.
These young guys playing, they've done a lot of great things for us. You guys have really stepped up and taken on a bigger role than maybe they didn't imagine they would have in their first season. And our coaches have got those guys ready throughout fall camp and throughout practices, throughout the season. And what they've done has been great. And if they do have mistakes or they do have mishaps, as a leader myself, I'm right there with them, right in their ear, just letting them know that we got their back. Next play, they'll bounce back, because we've all been there. We've all had those mistakes. So I love what those guys are doing, and we'll just keep getting better.
With this kind of rotating receiver system where there's not really a go-to guy, how does that make that difficult to find a rhythm for guys that when you're shuttling in and out?
No, I don't think so. We rotate because we have so many good guys, and everybody brings something different to the table. And the way we rotate, it keeps everybody fresh, keeps everybody to be able to play full speed at all times, in the run game or in the passing game. And just whenever your number's called, it's time to make a play.
You've been here for some time now. How do you guys see this Boise State rivalry as compared to, let's say, Utah State or Utah?
This will be my second time playing them. First time there, I redshirted. We played there in 2016, but they're a great team. They've always had success. They've always have made a case to be one of the better teams in the country, and we just have to be ready and be on our A game to go in there and get a good win.
What does it say to an offense when the head coach makes a decision to go for it on fourth down? Kalani did it a couple of times. Did choose to punt, late in the game instead of going on fourth down. What does that do for an offense?
I think it gives us, a lot of confidence, because we can see that he trusts us, that we can go and get the first down. Usually teams may only go for 4th and 1, 4th and 2, but for him to call it, 4th and 4, 4th and 5, in those situations, and we convert those, that's just a huge momentum shifter, I believe, and we just have to continue to do that on all downs, not just when things get hard.
what you're saying. Kind of, you have to earn it.
Yeah, you have to earn it, and it's always like that. You'll never get anything handed to you by any team. Northern Illinois did a great job of making us fight and earn every yard, and we just have to keep fighting every week. Good.
Yep.
Cool.
Thanks, Micah.
Oops. Just like, oh, then you're telling your offense I don't risk. Hey, man.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah.
Talk about what it's been like to be part of this tight end group. You guys started off with all, lots of excitement and numbers, and then injuries have kind of limited things, forced you guys into different roles. What's that been like this season?
It's been a little weird. I mean, my freshman year, same thing kind of happened. You always have depth, and then, I don't know, a tight end position is just a physical. You do a lot of things. You're blocking like linemen in the trenches, and then you're running out, exposing your body over the middle and taking hits. So there's always something new with I don't know. I feel like tight ends are almost never playing at 100%. There's always something new that's kind of nagging with an injury. So it's unfortunate that this year, I mean, Moroni went down, and then when Moroni went down, Hank Tuipulotu was supposed to step up. Then he went down. JJ decided to take the red shirt just to focus on some things. And so now we're really limited. It's Dallin, Addison, and myself. So it's different. Like our offense was supposed to have a focus on with the tight end, with almost always have two tight ends in the game. But now with just a limited amount of players, and you never know what's going to happen. So we still have two tight ends in the game sometimes, but not nearly as much. So, we still have to just stay healthy, make plays, and do what we can.
How are you doing there? It looked like you might have gotten dinged up a little bit. I guess, like you said, that's common with tight ends, but how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I got dinged up a little bit, just landed kind of funky on my arm. But, yeah, like I said, at this time of the season, too, towards the end of the season, you're always dealing with something, some small little pain or something going on. So you just have to fight through it and just rehab as much as you can to get ready for the next week.
Talk was early that there would be a lot that would go through the tight ends. How much of some of maybe the offensive issues last week, or some of the, in previous weeks, obviously a good game against Hawaii, but in previous weeks have been just because of some of those limitations, maybe not being able to use you guys as was initially planned?
Yeah, I don't know if it's, just the tight ends either, but just things happen. With the switch of quarterback also. Our offense didn't switch, but there's switches to game plans. Zach can run the ball more, and he made plays last game and against Hawaii. So there's just you run more RPOs and kind of switch it up with the defense when there's another threat on the field with a runner like Zach. So maybe we won't have two tight ends in as much, but that just means we have a receiver out there. Or, you just have to play to your strengths as injuries happen or when changes with the game plan. So as tight ends, Dallin, myself, and Addison, when he goes in, we feel confident that we know the scheme, we know the offense, and we know what we have to do. So we're always trying to progress and get better, and I think we have throughout the season. So, just whatever happens.
Why do you think you guys have struggled to put back-to-back wins together? And has the motivation been the same in practice after a win as after a loss?
Yeah, the motivation's always there. With this coaching staff, we're always working. It doesn't matter. You can't get complacent. So I just think, I don't know if it's not like we can't just put it together. It's just, I don't know, sometimes one team comes out to play, sometimes the offense can't figure it out, sometimes our defense, sometimes special teams. There's always like little different things. So it's not, Coach Sitake just told us not to point fingers. Sometimes sometimes just, for example, we couldn't put points on the board and the defense played a really good game. They only allowed 7 points. So we definitely should have been able to put up points against Northern Illinois. They were a good defense, but we just couldn't execute and couldn't finish those drives. So, I mean, we just need to, like you said, we need to prepare and be confident. I don't think it's a motivation or anything like that, but we just need to be the dominant team that we can be when we're all playing as well as we can. Offense, defense, special teams, we're a good team like we saw a couple weeks ago against Hawaii, but we just need to always prepare for every team every week and execute when it's game time.
Based on what you did last year, most people expected you to be the focal point of the offense this year. How's your year gone? Just kind of progressing in this new system, maybe learning new techniques. How's it gone for you? And can you just speak to your role and what's developing?
Yeah, I mean, I think with this offense, I think I've done my role. I've done my job, and I mean, the Coach Grimes and the other coaches, Coach Clark, and just the other offensive coaches have expected me to get better in some facets, like we've talked about, just blocking and things like that. But I think I've improved as the season went on. I think I'm getting better, and yeah, I think I'm happy with my role. But there's always a lot of room for improvement. I mean, I'm ready to make plays when I have the opportunity, and if the ball's thrown my way, I want to always come down with it. So it doesn't matter if we run the ball a lot or pass the ball a lot, as long as I'm doing my job and my 1/11th on the field with the offense. I think I've gotten better as the season went on. So I'm just hoping to improve.
How much of a motivator has it been for Moroni to come out and do what he did, and Dallin more playing time as a freshman? Has that been a motivator for you to
Yeah.
step it up?
Yeah, I mean, there's competition all the time in practice. So, I mean, during fall camp and then as the beginning of the season and even until now, Coach Grimes just says no one wins a first-string job from the beginning of the season and keeps it. It's a competition every week. So you just have to go out. We just have to go out and practice like it's game day and prove to the coaches that we deserve to be on the field, and you're fighting for playing time every week. So it's not like these jobs are set in stone. I think everyone's kind of noticed that with at least some of the skill positions. I mean, with the tight ends and receivers, there's rotations and things like that. So some people get more playing time than others, and that's just how we performed in the game the previous week, how we perform in practice. That determines how we play. So the competition's good. It raises you to another level and just makes you improve as the season goes on.
You mentioned the three-man rotation at times now. Has it taken away elements of this offense you guys had previously with the extra bodies?
I mean, we did things at the beginning of the season that we're not doing as much this year, but I mean, that's also has to do possibly with some of the tight ends, also with the quarterback change, and there's just new things that our coaching staff are always thinking of, different things that can help us perform to the best of our abilities and get more points on the board. So yeah, I mean, it's not like we're changing up our offense. We have all these plays and all these formations that we've put in that we can do with two tight ends or a fullback or a receiver instead of a fullback or tight end. So it's not like we're really switching it up. We just switch up personnel to see what will help us perform and get the most points on the board come game day.
Kalani emphasized consistency, so that's what's missing right now.
Right.
Is consistency. Mistakes are going to happen. That's part of playing the game. How do you limit the mistakes to become more consistent as a team? What do you guys have to do as players to do that?
I just think you have to have a short memory in football. I mean, if you make a mistake, you can't just be moping around on the sidelines. Say we have a 3-and-out and you miss a block or something. I think it's important that as players we just have a short memory and we're confident that, dang, we messed up, but next drive we're going to come out 100% and we're going to going to do our job. We're going to communicate better, and we're going to make these plays and get a push. And sometimes that just, I don't know. Sometimes I think, sometimes as players we overthink our abilities. We sometimes don't believe in ourselves as much when you mess up or when you have a misassignment. You kind of think on that and you overthink it. But really, as long as we just have a short memory and are mentally tough, that will help us. That'll help us do better. If we're, for example, last game we only put 6 points. We didn't score a touchdown. In the first half we put those 3 points or 6 points on. Second half we just needed to be confident. We needed to believe in ourselves and know that we could just charge down and score. And maybe we weren't as mentally tough as we could have been, or confident in our execution, knowing that we can put those points up and win that game.
How big of a factor is experience in being able to do that? I mean, you're in your second season. Some seniors have been around 4 or 5 years. A lot of freshmen are playing, but this is their first season playing. How big of a factor is experience in being able to do that?
Experience is a really important thing. I mean, I think for we have a lot of freshmen playing, and being underclassmen myself, coming from high school football to college football, it's a big difference. And you're not in high school. You're not playing against the type of talent as much week by week. So when you do mess up, or you fumble, or make a bad throw, or drop a ball, or miss a block, just things like that happen. When you're younger, you just you get down on yourself. You're like, dang, I can't believe I did that. But I think as you get more experience, you realize, okay, that's one play out of however many, I don't know, close to 60, 50 or 60 plays that you play in a game. That's one play, that's one mess up. And you have 59 other opportunities to showcase your talent and to make this team, make the offense roll or the defense roll. And I think experience just helps you realize that you need to be more mentally tough, and just that it doesn't matter what happened the drive before, the play before, but it's what happened. It's what is going on in that moment. As long as you're forgetting about the mistake, I think as a team right now, forgetting about the game that just happened or the season, forgetting about that, not really caring about, okay, what's our record or what happened last game, but just realizing, okay, we have a big opportunity to play Boise State. They're a good team. We have 4 more games in this season, and we can still make some noise, and we can still execute and beat some good teams. So we just need to be mentally tough. We need to focus on our execution, be accountable, and be more consistent, like Coach Kalani was saying.
Any other questions for Matt? All right, thanks, Matt.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
How's everyone doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Talk about the
How do
defense.
you feel like you've adjusted to your role of more playing time, and how do you feel like you're handling that?
I feel pretty good. I'm pretty confident in my play right now, and just I've been really focused on improving myself in every aspect of my game. For as long as I've been playing, I've always just been trying to push myself and improve to help the team whenever that is. And so I'm feeling pretty confident right now. I feel confident in my play. There's still a lot of things that I need to work on, and a lot of things that came up in this last game that I'm like, man, I gotta fix that. But overall, I'm feeling real confident. I'm feeling pretty good about my play, and our defense as well. I'm feeling confident in our defense.
You guys were able to get stops, but not able to get the big play, the big turnovers, or some of the ones that maybe you've had in the past. How do you kind of balance the success of getting stops with the failure maybe to really get one of those big change of field momentum?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, when it comes to turnovers and takeaways, really you want to do your job. That's really what it's about, and that's why we get so many stops, is because everyone's doing their job. Takeaways are really almost like little gambles. You're kind of stretching yourself and doing your job, but also being able to read a little bit quicker, a little bit faster. And Coach, he just really preached to us: do your job, and if the takeaway presents itself, go get it. And so it's kind of hard to balance, between doing your job and whether you should, make the big play. And it's always our goal to get takeaways. I mean, that's what we want to do. It helps the offense. It helps overall. It just helps the whole team. And so that's one thing that we really do need to focus. But it is hard to balance, the success of getting stops as well as not being able to get takeaways. That's one thing as a defense I think we really need to focus on is just really, getting takeaways. Focus on doing our job, but also being there to make a play and help the team.
Did you get whistled for the targeting call? Was that on your head?
Yeah.
What's that like, waiting to see if you get a play more, maybe ejected, or what's that moment, when you're just standing there on the field?
Yeah, that was honestly my first time. And so I came up and made the play, and when I popped up, I saw the ref throw the flag, and I'm thinking, oh, man, like, I'm replaying the play in my head. I did duck my head, and I'm just thinking I'm a goner. So waiting around, I'm not sure what's going on, and, my perspective is a little different than everyone else's, so I don't know what's going on. But I took my gloves off because I wasn't sure I was going to, continue playing. But it was a little bit nerve-wracking, and I just, I apologized to the quarterback for, that's the first thing I did. And then, I just huddled with the team and told them I loved them and to keep playing hard. And luckily, it worked out for me, and, they overturned the targeting call. But, yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking.
When you do get that call, what's the emotion then as it kind of flips in your favor?
I was just grateful to be able to continue to play and help my team out in any way that I could. I was super happy, and everyone, my phone was all, I had a ton of texts, and people were like, man, you're so lucky. And, it was just, thinking back on it, I was pretty lucky. But in the moment, I was pretty excited.
So did you go back and look at that play, look at what you did?
Yeah,
what did you see?
So Siona, had come in, and the quarterback, he was going down, and I just kind of ducked my head, and it was bad form tackling. Our coaches have taught us to be better, and I know to be better and to, hit what, see what I hit. And it was just kind of one of those things in the game that, it all happened so fast. The quarterback went down, and I just dropped my head, and luckily I made contact with his shoulder, not his head. But, luckily I didn't. So.
Is there, in this day and age of football, as a defender, do you ever have that in the back of your mind about targeting, or you just play and let the bygones be bygones?
No, you do for sure think about targeting. I mean, you want to keep the other opponent safe, and you want to protect yourself as well. And we know we've been taught the form and how to the technique of how to hit. And so it definitely is something that you try to focus on. But when it's happening so fast, old habits kind of come back, and you drop your head, and it's just something that you want to try to avoid and that you want to work on. But it just happens, and you just got to move on and try to focus on it, the next play.
The defense had a lot of success. How the team was 7. I know you guys didn't want to give up the 7, but
Yeah.
still only 7 points. That's usually enough to win a game. The offense struggling like it did. How important do you guys on the defense feel it is to make sure the offensive guys understand your confidence in them, even after a day when they didn't play very well?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. We have a ton of confidence in our offense. We know what they can do, and we expect them to do that, and they know what we can do, and they expect us to perform at that level. And I mean, we're just we can only control what we can as defensive players, and honestly, the 7 points was too much. Looking back at the game, there was a lot of things that we could have done on that drive. And me personally, I kind of take that upon myself. Not blaming the offense. I just think that we could have won that game if we would have played better that series right at a halftime. And but yeah, we're completely confident in the offense. We know what they can do, and we're 8 games in, 4 wins, 4 losses, and we kind of are getting a feel now how we need to play and what we need to do. And so I think we're going to start holding each other accountable to that. Really pushing guys and being confident and just letting the offense know that we know how they can play, and so we're going to expect them to play that way.
You and your extended family got deep roots in this BYU-Utah rivalry.
Yeah.
Boise State's regional rival. How do you view it? You're a local kid who's seen Boise play a lot. How do you view this rivalry?
This is a big game. They've they're a great team. Boise State is a great team. I've been able to study them this past weekend and look at the opponents they've played and how they've played, and they're a great team. This is a big-time game. I mean, obviously, it's not, to the Utah-BYU rivalry, but this, to us and to me, this is a big rivalry game. This is a huge game that we got to win. They've got us the past couple years, and so this is a game that we got to compete. We got to play, and hopefully, we come out with a win, and yeah, we'll see.
Coach Kalani emphasized consistency. He said in all three phases, this team needs to be more consistent. That's what we're lacking. What do you feel like has to happen for that to become the case, where you're more consistent across the board?
Yeah, let's see. Sorry, just give me a sec to think about this. I mean, really, it's about just doing your job. No matter who you're playing against, consistency is really just knowing what you got to do and performing that and doing that job. And I think if we can do that across all three phases, we see that we're a great football team. We can compete with anyone, with the Wisconsins. We can be physical, and it's really just about knowing what you got to do and doing it. And your opponents are athletes too. They make plays. They're great. They have a job to do, and they're trying to prevent you from doing your job. But it really just comes down to, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to win? Really, how bad do you want to, win your job and just perform like you can? So I think that's the biggest thing we got to focus on is, what is your job? Matt spoke about the 111th. What is your 111th? And then doing that and doing it as best as you can.
Any other questions? All right, thanks, Isaiah.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
I have credentials.